The wind whipped past, a cruel whisper against his mask as he clung to the grimy girders of the Brooklyn Bridge. Below, the churning water of the East River seemed to mock him, a dark, hungry maw. But it wasn't the height, nor the chilling cackle of his nemesis, the Green Goblin, that froze him in that moment. It was the sight of her, suspended precariously, a pawn in a madman's game. Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy was Peter Parker's anchor. In a life constantly teetering on the edge of chaos, with the weight of extraordinary power and responsibility on his shoulders, Gwen was his quiet harbor, his first true love. Not the flamboyant, free-spirited Mary Jane Watson, who brought a vibrant chaos of her own, but Gwen, with her brilliant mind, her kind eyes, her gentle strength. She saw Peter, not just Spider-Man. She was the one he could imagine a future with, a normal, happy life that seemed impossibly out of reach for a masked vigilante. Their love was earnest, built on shared studies at Empire State University, on quiet evenings, and on the unspoken understanding of the pressures Peter carried, even if she didn't know the full truth. She represented stability, hope, the potential for a life beyond the endless battles. She was everything he fought for, a beacon in the darkness of his double life, a grounding force that promised a semblance of normalcy. But on that fateful day atop the Brooklyn Bridge, that beacon was thrust into the heart of his darkest nightmare. The Green Goblin, unhinged and fueled by his twisted obsession with Spider-Man, knew exactly where to strike. With a guttural laugh that echoed off the steelwork, he hoisted Gwen Stacy, dangling her over the precipice before releasing her into the void below. Time seemed to shatter. Peter's heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat of pure terror. Instinct took over. A blur of red and blue, a desperate lunge, and then a web line shot out. A thin, fragile strand of hope reaching across the abyss. It connected, snatching Gwen from the plummeting fall, just meters above the churning water. For a split second, relief flooded him, cold and sharp. He had her. He had saved her. But then, the sickening reality crashed down. The sudden, violent deceleration, the whiplash effect of her body stopping so abruptly from such a height, it was too much. A faint, almost imperceptible sound, described in the comic as a snap, echoed not through the air, but through the very core of Peter Parker's being. Was it the fall that broke her, or the very web meant to save her? The ambiguity only deepened the horror. All that mattered was the result. When he pulled her back up, cradling her lifeless form, her neck was impossibly twisted, her eyes staring blankly at the indifferent sky. The light, the hope, the future, all extinguished in that single devastating moment. The world fractured. Peter's mind screamed in denial, then choked on a wave of self-loathing so profound it threatened to drown him. He had failed. His strength, his powers, his best intentions, they weren't enough. In fact, they might have been the very instrument of her demise. The Green Goblin had taken her, but Peter felt he had killed her. This crushing guilt would become a permanent scar on his soul, haunting him through countless battles and quiet nights, a relentless whisper of what if and if only. The immediate aftermath was a blur of righteous fury and inconsolable grief. He beat the Green Goblin savagely, pushing the boundaries of his self-imposed moral code, only to find that vengeance offered no solace, no reprieve from the unbearable pain. Gwen was gone, and nothing could bring her back. Her death wasn't just the end of a beautiful love story. It was a seismic shift in the landscape of comic book history. Before this, heroes always found a way. The innocent were always saved.
the Silver Age of comics, characterized by its optimism, its clear-cut morality, its vibrant, sometimes simple narratives, effectively died with Gwen Stacy. Her demise ushered in a new era, the Bronze Age, where consequences were real, where heroes faced genuine loss, where morality was far more complex and happy endings were never guaranteed. This moment, enshrined in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man 121 and 122, remains one of the most tragic and pivotal events, not just for Spider-Man, but for the entire medium. It shattered the illusion of invincibility and exposed the raw, vulnerable humanity beneath the masks. It taught us that even with the purest intentions, even with incredible power, tragedy can strike. That sometimes the very act of saving can lead to unintended, devastating consequences. It cemented the idea that Peter Parker's life would always be defined by sacrifice, by the heavy cost of his powers, and by the profound, unending burden of responsibility that came with them. Gwen Stacy serves as a stark reminder that even heroes are not exempt from the cruelties of fate, and that their greatest victories often come at an unbearable price. It grounded the fantastic in a brutal reality, making Spider-Man's struggles and his humanity more relatable than ever. The web that snapped Gwen Stacy wasn't just a physical thread. It was a thread that tore through Peter Parker's heart, irrevocably altering his path and the very fabric of comic book storytelling. It's a story of love, loss, and the enduring weight of guilt that continues to resonate with readers decades later, a stark testament to the fragility of life, even in a world of superheroes. What are your thoughts on this heartbreaking moment? How did Gwen Stacy's death impact your perception of Spider-Man or the superhero genre? Please share your reflections in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective on this truly iconic and devastating chapter in comic history. And if you found this exploration thought-provoking, consider subscribing or following for more deep dives into the stories that shape our shared imagination.